Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about how you can fast forward the manifestation, what you can do to basically make the manifestation come into your life a little bit faster. Now, I need to put in a little bit of a, not a caveat, what's it called? Disclaimer. I'm losing my words. A little disclaimer in here. Of course, we are not in charge of anything. We know that as Muslims. So, of course, everything is up to the will of Allah and when Allah says it's time. So, this can sound a little bit like, well, how can we bring something in beforehand and at the same time leave it up to Allah? And we can do that because of the way that we interact with the manifestation and the blessing and how we choose to live our lives. And that's basically what it is that I'm going to be speaking into today. And then, of course, as well, we can create an environment where it's easier for Allah to put the blessing in for us. Easier makes it sound like it is difficult for Him. Of course it isn't. You know what I mean, as in like we're creating the environment, showing Allah that we're ready for it and taking all the correct steps so that Allah is more inclined to be like, okay, you know what, they're willing to work for it, I'm willing to give it to them, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we go on, if you are listening in on Spotify and you didn't listen to last week's episode, the 100th episode, I just want to let you know that you can now watch the podcast as well over on YouTube at Manifesting Muslimah. So that is like the next step in the podcast. I have reached, alhamdulillah, 100 episodes, and I wanted to shake things up a little bit for this season 2, which is, the next 100 episodes, inshallah, of the podcast. And I decided that I wanted to start recording it. Also, for those of you that listened and were like, the podcast came out first and then the video, listen, I'm not trying to tell you lies here and be like, I'm a brilliant IT girl and I know what I'm doing with tech. I have no clue. I'm just trying, and I'm just trying to figure it out as I go along. The video is up now, and I think it actually kind of ended up being uploaded close to midnight on Thursday. And the episode, like the podcast version itself, came up like at least 8 hours before that. So yeah, that is going to happen. Hopefully not a lot of times, but I'm not a tech girly. I try my best, but it is up and you can watch it there as well on YouTube. And inshallah, from now on, you'll see that they'll start coming up basically at the same time, inshallah. That's definitely what I'm hoping for here. But give me a couple of episodes to figure out how to best do it and all that good stuff, so that I can get used to also making videos for the podcast. It is still a new thing for me to do that. So inshallah khair. And then of course, even if you don't watch on YouTube and you prefer listening, but you do have a Gmail account, which means that you actually have like you, or not even just a Gmail account. If you use YouTube, go and subscribe to my channel. It will help out the channel to grow. Even if you're not planning on watching over there, just like as a little, hey, I'm supporting you, sis. Here's a little subscribe just to get the numbers up. You know how it is. Okay, sis. All right. So all of that being said, I think we're going to go straight into the episodes. I'm going to be looking down here a little bit because I've got my notes here, okay? So how can we bring the manifestations into our lives? Like, what can we do? And the first thing that I tell people is to live as if it's already done. And you'll probably have heard this before because a lot of people actually say this. If you've been in the world of law of attraction for a while and you've been reading books, listening to podcasts, following other law of attraction coaches, you'll have heard this before. This is not a unique take or anything like that. And I think the thing where, like, what I will say now is where, I'll definitely go into more details where a lot of other people kind of just assume that what that means. And not everybody knows what that means. I had to also be like, well, what does that mean? Because if I'm asking to be a millionaire, how can I live as if I'm a millionaire, but I'm on a budget, right? So it's like, what do you mean exactly? So there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one is that you can take some actions that you also would take as that future version of you who already has the manifestation. Now, if it is, for instance, something like money that you're asking Allah to bless you with a lot of money and you don't have it at the moment, there could be other things that the version of you who has the money is already doing that doesn't necessarily entail the money aspect. And that could be something as simple as like eating a healthier diet, going to the gym, going to bed at a reasonable hour, waking up at a reasonable hour. There are certain things that that version of you that you're imagining who has this kind of income, that kind of financial wealth just does, that you're hoping that the money aspect of the manifestation is going to make you just automatically become. And in reality, those are still choices that you can choose to do today, right? So a lot of people have this idea, specifically when it comes to, we're going to stay with the example of wealth right now, that when I have a lot of money, I'm going to start dressing up a little bit more, like wear my good clothes. I'm going to start burning my more expensive candles. I'm going to start wearing my good perfume. I'm going to go to bed at a reasonable hour. I'm going to wake up earlier and go work out before I get to work, and all of these stuff, like these things that essentially you could be doing right now. Those are the kinds of actions that you should already be doing now instead of delaying it. The more that you keep putting this delay or like this thing of like, I can't do that until, the more you're actually delaying the enjoyment of the manifestation, because part of the enjoyment is doing all of those things. That is part of the enjoyment of being that version that you're imagining of yourself who has that blessing, who has that manifestation. And it also, and I'm going to say this and it might trigger some people, is also the actions that will make the blessing come in faster, because you're already embodying the kind of person who in your world has these kinds of things, who has that kind of blessing, i.e. you're moving yourself one step closer to the blessing itself, because you're creating the environment in which the blessing in your world will thrive. Okay. So living as if could be taking action. And I'm going to use another example, because not everybody is necessarily struggling financially. And if you're one of those who's not struggling financially, congratulations, right? Like, it's such a rarity these days with the way that the economy is these days. Congratulations, right? But let's take another example. For instance, marriage. Marriage is such a big topic. So let's go with the marriage one. So how can I live as if I'm a married woman when I'm not even seeing someone, when there's not even a prospect of somebody that I want to marry currently in my life? Okay, so you look at, again, the idea of the actions that you have of what you will do once you're married. And we all have them. So dig deep if nothing comes up immediately, because you probably have some things as well. Some of it might be, I'll become a little bit more cleaner or neater, like a little bit more organized. So you're kind of like, again, postponing this version of yourself that is more organized until the partner comes into your life, right? Well, in reality, you can just choose to be more organized now. Another really big one, sis, I know, listen, again, we're going to go there. Wearing matching underwear. I know, please don't come for me, but wearing matching underwear or taking pride in like the undergarments that you wear. You know, when we're single, we're like, ugh, these ratty old knickers, like who cares, whatever, they're stained, there's a little hole, the fabric is fraying or whatever. Like we like, I don't know, wear our period undies because we couldn't be bothered doing laundry and whatever. And little things like that we're telling ourselves, when I'm married, I'm definitely not going to do that. Like, I'm definitely going to be the woman who wears matching underwear, and it's going to be pretty delicate, frilly stuff, at least to begin with, let's be real. But you know, that you have this idea of like, even to the point of like, my undergarments have to match or send a signal that I am to be desired, that I am a sexy woman, right? Or a sexy partner. So something like that you can actually start doing already now, because that'll also send a signal to you, like you're already that person who is to be desired, who is sexy, who's attractive to the opposite sex. So you'll come out with a bit more confidence around yourself when you're out there potentially meeting a new partner. So something like that. Yes, I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but trust me, it works. I can't, like, I'm not a psychoanalyst person thingamabob. I don't even know if that's the people who would know these stuff, but like how the brain works and that. But I think it's literally just like an energetic thing of like, you know, that this is going on underneath your clothes, underneath your abaya, and then as a result you exude more confidence and stuff like that, right? So those are the kinds of things that, like, even something as like marriage, wanting to manifest a partner or a marriage or like a family or whatever, those are the kinds of things that you can start doing that are the actions of the person that you're imagining yourself to become in the future would take. So you're basically embodying it. So you're already living as if it's already come in. So you're already treating yourself as the person who is worthy of having it. So you're basically, what it is like sort of like closing the gap between who you are now and who you have to become. You're already halfway there. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe even closer than halfway there. Another thing is of the living as if is also the mindset. What's going on in the mindset and the beliefs. And one thing, I'm going to use a different example here. For instance, right now, there are a lot of people who want to become content creators and make money through their content. Myself included, right? So I'm a content creator. And one of the things that I had to do when I started Manifesting Muslimah was I had to start embodying the belief of somebody who creates content on a regular basis. Alhamdulillah, I do that now, right? But one of the things that I had to start believing about myself, like in my mindset, was that I'm confident enough to sit down and what I'm about to say is worthy of being said and heard, right? Instead of questioning the stuff that I'm going to put out all the time. A big one, for instance, in this podcast, for my podcast, is that for a long time I was questioning, should I be scripting it? Should I be taking more notes? Should I, have like a full on like read off of a script? And I, had to like really work on no, because that's not how I operate. And what I say more naturally, because I already know what I'm talking about, is worth being heard and will be valuable to people. And that was a mindset, like a belief that I had to work on and embody, live as if, before it even fully had before I fully embodied it within myself. I had to sort of like live as if it had happened. And then as a result, by just living as if like this is just already there, I started becoming more and more confident in the stuff that I'm putting out there. And the way that I speak, the way that I say things, so that even to the point, for instance, one of the things that I used to do a lot in the beginning is when I would stumble on my words or I'd say something, I would have to like, oh my God. And then I had to like press redo or like delete and play again or whatever, or record again and stuff. Where now, I'll fumble on my words, I'll say things, I'll make a joke of it, I'll move on. And I'm just embodying like, it's okay, like, because what I'm saying is still valuable and it's okay not to be perfect with it. So that's like a really big one. Also like the mindset and belief. So don't just look at the physical actions. That's definitely a big step of it, but also look at like the internal stuff that's going on, the internal monologue that you're telling yourself, what you're believing about yourself and the world around you, and what that future version of you, and I'm going to put future actually in quotation marks, because you can literally bring the future into now if you want to, by living as if it's already happened. Okay, moving on to number 2. What I want you to do next to bring the manifestation closer to yourself is look at the core intention of the thing. And this is almost as if like it kind of like piggybacks a little bit off of the first point, which is to live as if, but it is to look at the core intention of, okay, we're going to take again as an example, marriage. We're going to take marriage now. I want marriage. Okay, what is the intention of the marriage? Okay, there's a lot of intention around marriage and everybody has different intentions. Not everybody wants marriage because they want love. Some want marriage because they want security. Some want marriage because they want a partnership. Some want marriage because they want children. Some want marriage, so there's so many different intentions for wanting marriage, right? Some want marriage because they believe that it'll make them a better Muslim, that if they have that person around them, that they'll be more diligent with their prayers, so on and so forth. So look at the core intention, really scale back the point of the manifestation for you. So it's not the thing, the product itself, it's what the product will bring you. And when I say product, I mean marriage is the product, the partner is the product, the child is the product. I know that sounds really triggering, doesn't it? But that's what I'm looking at. So like the product itself, the physical manifestation of the thing that you're wanting, there's like a core intention behind it. So look at what the core intention is. What is it exactly? Why this thing? What is it that I'm hoping this thing will do for me? What is it that it's going to fulfill within me? So marriage, for instance, if it is because you don't want to feel alone, that is another thing. For instance, you say like, I feel lonely. Okay, there's your core intention. You don't want to be lonely. So if you don't have the marriage yet, how can you fulfill that need in the moment without having the partner necessarily there, so that you can minimize the desperation around the energy of finding a partner. Do you know what I mean? So you basically say, well, if I'm lonely, I can spend more time with girlfriends, I can go out on more dates, put myself out there if that is a possibility to you. I can spend more time with my family. I can join clubs and hobbies where I meet more people and basically interact. So I spend less time at home alone when, that's when that feeling of loneliness really washes over me more. So, like, those kinds of things. So look at the core intention. Like, what need is it that you're hoping to satisfy through the product of the manifestation itself? And that doesn't mean that the product itself of the manifestation is worthless or invaluable at this point, but it means that it removes the desperation around the product aspect of the manifestation itself. And as a result of that, you're energetically more open to it instead of that desperate needs, like that desperate energy that basically is very repelling. I always liken it to meeting a guy, and then, like the guys who are like really desperate, they almost come off like very repelling. Like, we don't really want them because they feel too desperate. It's like, oh, why do you work so hard? Like, yeah, we want to be chased and we want all of these things and feel special, but we don't want the person to seem desperate to want us. That is very much repelling to us, or to most people at least. And that's the energy that we want to remove from ourselves around the manifestation as well, so we can go into it with a lot more ease and flow and comfort around it, okay? So really look at the product itself and then start asking yourself questions and start scaling it back. It's very much this Shrek onion metaphor thing. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, you need to go watch Shrek 1 again. But very much like peel back the layers of the onion, very much it, and come back into the really like that core intention of the manifestation itself. And then ask yourself, how else can I satisfy this need? Even if it feels more shallow, it's not like fully it yet, because there is, of course, like, for instance, again, let's take the marriage aspect again, where we're like, oh, I'd like to be held at night, be cuddled. Okay, well, we can't do that necessarily with our friends and whatever, but maybe you've got nieces or nephews that you can cuddle with at night. Maybe you have a pet you can cuddle with at night. But, like, it's still not exactly the same, but it's like, it'll ease some of the tension. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so the next one, the last one that I will share with you today is to get out of your head and just take action, just do something. One thing that a lot of us tend to do is we get stuck in our head, right? There's a saying, stay in your head, you're dead. I don't know if I fully agree with this statement, the way it's said, but like the sentiment of it, what it actually means is I agree with, but the statement itself sounds really, really aggressive. But basically what it means, especially when it comes to manifestation, is the more you keep staying in your head, the less the manifestation itself is going to come around. So the manifestation is dead. It's not going anywhere other than staying in your head as something potentially to be happening in the future, right? So what you want to do is take the manifestation and put it into your reality, take it outside of your head, really start looking at it as something that is not just within your mind and in your mindset, but also something that happens outside of your mind in reality. Bring it into the reality. And a lot of people struggle with this because we tend to get stuck in here. We're thinking about, but how can I make it done? But what action is the right action? And what if I do it wrong? What if it's not the right one? Da, 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 da. And then we get stuck in overthinking. And you know what overthinking is? That is shaitan. That is waswas. That is overthinking. Overthinking is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, do the thing. Pray. Take action. Be a kind person. Do these things. Shaitan says, but wait a minute. He makes you question it. He makes you doubt. He makes you hesitant. He makes you fear yourself and the actions that you're going to take. So don't stay here. Don't stay in your mind. This is a really bad place for us to be. Our minds can be wonderful things, but they can also be our worst enemy. So really try whatever you do to stay in here the least amount of time. You can think about certain things 100%, but what you don't want to do is stay in here. You want to take it outside, even if it's only by a small thing. So again, taking it back to living as if, and one of the examples that I gave was, light up that expensive candle. Oh my God, like the amount of candles that I used to hoard in the past because I was like, oh, that was an expensive candle. And like Jo Malone, like a literal Jo Malone. Rituals as well. Rituals also do beautiful candles, but they can also be a little bit pricey, right? They're not the Tesco candles. So, and I would just kind of like hoard them because I was like, oh no, but that cost me so much money. I can't burn it. That's just burning my money away. And I had to like literally get out of that mindset of like, I can't use the good stuff. Like I can't use my valuable things. It's literally a candle. Like it's literally a candle. But like I was overthinking these things to like, I can only use these things when I can afford to like restock. And in reality, I could always restock. And I have because use the candle and I'm like, oh, I really like this candle. So I'm going to invest in another beautiful candle that I enjoy smelling and that lasts me for a long time. But the amount of people that I know who have a beautiful candle that they don't want to use because they're afraid that it's going to be used up. And instead of just thinking if it's used up, I can literally budgetize it in the next month and get another one. I can ask for it for Christmas. I can ask for it for my birthday. And yes, I said Christmas because some of us still give Christmas presents and receive Christmas presents, even if we don't celebrate. We can ask for it for Eid. We can ask for it just like if you've got a partner or somebody who likes to just kind of give you stuff, ask them to give it to you or whatever. Like buy it for yourself, literally budgetize it and buy it for yourself. But the point is just that, we live in this mindset of like, oh, I can't do all of these things. And then we're staying stuck in here when in reality, even something as lighting the expensive candle, putting on your favorite perfume that you're running low on, putting on your nice dresses, putting on makeup before you go out. I say that looking like this, but that's because my external appearances don't actually necessarily have anything to do with that's a whole different story. Just know that this to me doesn't stop me. That's what I'm trying to say. But if this to you would stop you from doing the thing, do something about that, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, that was the chair. I didn't fart. You can believe I farted. You know what? Whatever makes you happy, do that. Go with whatever makes you happy. But the point is just to get out of your head. And sometimes the action can be a small thing. It does not have to be this life-changing, all or nothing thing. It can literally just be uploading one video to TikTok. It could be publishing one blog post. It could be dressing up, putting matching underwear on and committing to that for a week, a month, whatever, so that you can feel like the energy of being more desired. It can be sitting down and writing that first sentence of the book that you're dreaming about. It could be, if it's financial thing, like that you want a lot of money, like get out of your head and take action. It could be just start looking, daydreaming, like allow yourself to look for more expensive houses. Allow yourself to browse really expensive hotels. A lot of us, you'd be so surprised, a lot of us don't even allow ourselves the luxury to dream and to look at what's out there. So looking at in the marketplace for houses and you can't afford it right now. That's fine. Nobody said you're buying it tomorrow. Yeah, that would be great if you could. But like just taking action of like, what's actually out there? Would I, and then have discernment as well, like the kind of thing like, oh, would I live there? No, because the garden feels too small. I love the bathtub. You and I both know there's like £10 in my account, right? But I'm still looking at a house worth 6 million, right? And that is not because I'm about to buy the house tomorrow, it's because I'm allowing myself to be like, at some point, I'm actually going to be looking at these houses. At some point, this is actually going to come in to my reality. And so I need to know what the market is like. I need to know what I actually want in these kinds of houses. I need to know what are deal breakers for me. What kind of areas do I want to be in? So I'm coming in prepared, right? When the manifestation comes, I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm coming in prepared, right? I need to know, I want to live in this area. This is the amount of bedrooms that I want. I need this kind of flooring, this kind of garden or balcony. This is the kind of system in the door, whatever. Okay, take notes. That is how you can take action, even if there's nothing else. Allow yourself that dream. Allow yourself that moment to prepare for the thing when it actually comes in. And that is a way to get yourself, again, out of your head and into this physical reality that we are currently in. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to share with you today. Live as if, and that could be physical actions that you can take, even if it's small ones, or belief and mindset. Look at like, what would that future version of me believe? And if I'm to bring it in, so how would I act according to those beliefs and the mindset? look at the core intention. So scale back from the product itself and look at what would it actually give me? What is the core intention here? What am I trying to satisfy? What is the need for this manifestation that I'm trying to basically satisfy within myself? And then get out of your head and take action. Stay in your head, you're dead. So take it outside, even if it's something as simple as dreaming and looking at a market that you can't currently afford. If it is something like saying, girl, if it's marriage, go on a dating app. I'm not saying to use a dating app if you don't want to, but just to look at the men. Sorry, I don't know. Just look at the men. Look at what's out there. We're not interacting necessarily if that's not what we want to do, but just to look at what's available. Look at it as like a housing market, right? So look at, he's got a good beard, but like the way he's writing and whatever his dream, no, I wouldn't want that. So just to dream, just to peruse the market, you're allowed that. You're actually allowed that. And like if push comes to shove, you know what I actually quite like the idea of? I do that for myself within my mind quite a bit, is that game that they did in Sex and the City, Charlotte and Carrie, where they're sitting out in a cafe, and it's because like Carrie's like really struggling to figure out what she should be writing about, like for the next week's column or whatever. And so they're sitting there like, out of 100 men, would you not? Like, and you can even do that with your girlfriends. Just go out and be like, oh, I like him. And then again, discernment, right? Like, oh, I like that his size, but like, oh, I don't know, his shoes were like really, like they didn't go with anything. No, like allow yourself these things. Allow it. Nobody says you have to date them or be with them or talk to them or anything like that. It is just a moment of being there. So again, taking it outside of your head and looking at what's actually available. All right, my darling, that is the 3 things that I had for you in how you can basically expedite the manifestation, bring the manifestation a step closer to yourself, and start living as if it's already there, bringing it into your reality. So you're closing the gap between now and then, so it's not so much a future thing. You're already in the future. So you're already, basically manifesting the thing into your reality, and it's a part of your reality already, rather than it being something in a distance that you have to change a lot of things to be there. Do you know what I mean? So I would love it if you could support my YouTube channel. That's like my little reminder here again. So even if you don't watch YouTube, but you sometimes watch, go and subscribe to my channel. Help me get the numbers up. It would really, really help me a lot. Share, tell everybody that you know about either my YouTube or my podcast. Do all the good things. We're over 100 episodes in on the podcast. So this is actually only the second video version of it, but like inshallah 100 more minimum on the video aspect of it. But share it. There's lots of bingeable content that's out there, so if they're new to it, there's lots for them to dig into. So not and a lot of them are like really long episodes. This, all of this stuff. So do share, tell somebody about it. That's my little action plan for you today. Help a sister out. That's what it is. So I hope there was something beneficial for you in today's episode. I hope there was something that you can use today to start bringing the manifestation closer to yourself. I will see you inshallah in Thursday's episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.